In response to COVID-19, PSP is offering telefitness to Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the telefitness classes tailored to Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Prior to participating in this session and to make an informed decision on whether you should seek advice from a qualified exercise professional or healthcare provider, consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference document. By continuing with this telefitness class, you understand that there is a possibility of physical injury, and you agree that you do so voluntarily at your own risk. You also assume all risk of injury and agree to release the Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services from any and all claims related to your participation in this telefitness class.
How's it going, everyone? Scott Lewis, fitness and sports instructor for PSP at 4CDTC Meaford here. Today we've got a Tabata core circuit, so we're going to focus on 3 exercises and we're going to take them one at a time through a Tabata. So that's going to be 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest for 8 rounds on each of these 3 exercises. There'll be a bit more of a rest in between the actual exercises themselves as we finish off the 8th round. As far as equipment today, all you're going to need is a mat, a little bit of space, a timer so that you get those 20-10 intervals in, and some light weights or up to a medium weight depending on what your needs are. So the exercises themselves today, we've got a counterweight squat for our core stability. We've got a plank for beginners or a body saw if you're a little bit more advanced and you want to add that dynamic element as we're moving for those 20 seconds. And lastly, we're going to end off with some bird dogs. So that's just that anti-rotation stability as well. So you're going to get your general warm-up, you're going to get your mobility in, and then we'll start our Tabatas.
Our first Tabata features a counterweight squat, so we're going to be focusing on our core and lower body strength. So what happens when we hold this weight out further from our body makes our core have to work a little bit harder to keep our torso upright. So while we're using our glutes, quads, and hamstrings in order to propel us upwards, our core is working double time in order to keep that spine nice and neutral. So as far as your stance, you're going to be roughly shoulder width apart with your feet, and then you're going to be tracking your knees over your middle toes. From there, you're just going to try to keep that weight roughly parallel to your shoulders or your chest. If you're using a heavier implement, you will notice that your arms go down as you fatigue. So adjust that weight appropriately. If you need to drop the weight or increase the weight, you can do that from round to round. Our next Tabata is going to feature body saw or a plank depending on your ability level. So the body saw is just pivoting from the toes forward and backward in a comfortable range of motion for your shoulders. So with this, your hips are slightly higher than your head and your ankles to maintain that nice brace, and you're just going to try to keep those hips from dipping throughout this exercise. So you're going to squeeze the glutes nice and tight, brace the core, and breathe throughout. During your 10-second rest interval, feel free to extend the spine slightly as you see me do here, and that'll just help stretch out the core a little bit and take a little pressure off of your lower back. Our last Tabata features a bird dog, so we're going to be working our anti-rotation or stability properties of our core. So for this, we're going to focus on our opposite limbs. As you see me here, I've got my right arm extending and my left leg. So we're going to be working off of that one side for the 20 seconds. We'll take our 10-second rest and then we'll work off of the other side, and we'll alternate like that for all 8 of the rounds. So for this, your hand just needs to be underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and your head is going to be neutral. So you don't want to be looking up and forward and extending that neck. Just look straight down at the ground. If you'd like, you can try to connect your knee to your elbow at the end range of motion when you're bringing them in. I always like to remind clients that you want to picture yourself reaching far from your midline as opposed to reaching up towards the ceiling, because if you try to reach up towards the ceiling, you're going to hyperextend that back, and we don't want that.
All right, now that we're all warmed up and ready to go, you've seen the demos. All you're gonna need for this first round, the counterweight squats, is your clock to keep track of your 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off intervals, and then your light to medium weight that you're gonna hold out in front of yourself. So just pick a weight that you can maintain for 20 seconds, and then just know that you have those 10-second rest intervals. All right, let's go. Feet shoulder width apart, weights going out, and begin. Rest. Back to it. Rest. Make sure you have some water handy. You don't have too much time to fool around, so just keep everything in a nice close place. Back to it. Rest. Three, 2, 1, back to it. Keep those knees tracking the middle toes. Spine and neck nice and neutral. Feel free to swap the weight out if you need to, either heavier or lighter. Round number 5, let's go. I'm going to drop my weight just slightly for these last 3 rounds. Whew. Back to it, round number 7. One more. Let's go. Last round of our first Tabata. And rest. Take about 1.5 to 2 minutes here. Grab some water and get ready for the plank or the body saw Tabata. All right, so you had your water. All you need now for this second Tabata is a mat. And again, keep using the timer there or a watch, whatever you're using. The beginner is just gonna be a static plank from your elbows. Feel free to go down to your knees instead of the toes if you want to as well. you're a little bit more advanced, we're just going to add that rock forward and backward. All right, let's get it. Relax, don't go anywhere. Round number 2. Nice neutral back, keep those glutes engaged. Rest. Back to it, round number 3. Feel free to stretch your core out a little bit here in the 10 seconds that you have. Back to it, round number 4. Round number 5, let's go. Round number 6, coming in hot. Two more rounds to go, keep it up. Shake those shoulders out. Last round. Woo! Good work. Second Tabata complete. Take 2 minutes, grab some water. We're going to finish off with our third Tabata. It's going to be those bird dogs. All right, so we're ready to go. Third and final Tabata here. We're just going to get set up for our bird dogs. All you need is the mat for this one. Knees under hips, hands underneath shoulders. Begin. to work off of one side for 20 seconds, rest, and then switch to the other side. Feel free to slow these reps down, go at your own pace. Round number 3 complete. Halfway there, keep it up. Keep that water handy. Remember, we're trying to reach far out as opposed to up. Two more rounds to go. Last round, let's go. Finish strong. Good stuff. Grab some water and I'll meet you in the cool down. right, good work everybody. I hope you enjoyed the workout. If you had any injuries or issues, please fill out a CF98. Otherwise, I hope you have a good day.